G'day, Dr. Nick here again from Beyond Midnight Consulting. Today I'm going to talk to you just very briefly about the aging brain. Now, this is a subject close to my heart, obviously, because I'm an aging man. I've hit 62 years old now. Not that I believe that's really old, but old is what you make of it, really. And look, I've said this numerous times before. You have more control over your health than you often give yourself credit for. And what I mean there is a lot of people start aging and start getting complications with aging. You know, all sorts of brain conditions can start to occur as you go past your 60s, obviously. And certainly you're at higher risk for things like early onset dementias and Alzheimer's disease and Lewy body syndrome and a whole range of other things. And you know what? You have a fair amount of control over putting that off or reducing your risk as much as you possibly can. Now, early on in this series, I spoke about how sleep cleans the brain, and that is a very important component of this. And as I mentioned in that episode, when we sleep, we clear out toxins and nasty proteins that are leftovers from your work doing the workload it does every single day. Now, on its own, this is not enough. You need to sleep for about 7.5 hours on average as you get older. None of this rubbish about as you get older, you need less sleep. That is absolute nonsense. What occurs as you get older is you tend to have more sleep maintenance insomnia issues. And what I mean by that is you might wake up a little bit more than you used to as you're a bit younger. Many reasons for this. One, our bladder gets less stretchy, so we urinate more. Two, we might take on more pains and aches from arthritic conditions or leftovers from injuries that we've sustained throughout our whole lifespan. And of course, the older you get, the more chance you get to collect more injuries. And of course, these days, through the COVID pandemic and what's remaining after that, there is a whole lot of anxiety in the world too. And that's from concern about being able to afford to live on a daily basis and things like this. So there's a lot of things that tend to wake us up more as we get older. Can I please encourage you, as you get older, if you're in bed for 8 hours or so, but you only think that you're getting 5 or 6 hours of sleep, and you can record that with different apps you can purchase. But if you think you're getting much less than 7 hours at least, what I encourage you to do is take early afternoon naps. And probably the best time to take them would be about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. If you have lunch around lunchtime, say 12 o'clock, and then just put your head down for a nap around 1 o'clock. And what I would do is, if you think that you got about 6.5, 7 hours of sleep last night, perhaps a 20-minute time nap would be sufficient from about 1 in the afternoon. But if you know you only got about 6 hours of sleep last night, why don't you put your head down for a full cycle of sleep? That is 1.5 hours or 90 minutes. And when you wake up, you will feel a little bit groggy from that. But what you will be doing is you will be helping to support your aging brain, and you will be able to sustain the livelihood of your brain for a fair bit longer. And we've seen this in research where people who are napping over a 10-year period compared to those who weren't napping had around about 52% more cognitive ability over that 10-year period. So that is not to be messed with. That is a huge result. And if you want the details of that research, I'm happy to send that to you. Just contact me through my website, beyondmidnight.org. Now, importantly, with an aging brain, you need to remember to keep up the exercise and, again, very importantly, eat very healthily. The best type of foods, Mediterranean style eating, not diet eating, where you can get as many different coloured fruit and veg into your body on a weekly basis as possible. And don't forget, any good nutritionist will tell us we also need proteins with those 3 meals a day, but no more than a handful. That's all we need, okay? On top of this, we need movement. As much exercise as you can get in your day is absolutely a bonus. You can go for a run if you want to, but if you don't feel like you're up to running, go for a walk. Do some stairs, walk up some gentle hills, get the heart rate up a bit. Always, always consult your physician before embarking on an exercise program if you haven't been on one of recent times, because we don't want you just springing into action and then all of a sudden your heart can't handle it. So always make sure you're good to go first, get checked over. But the more you can walk and move and exercise, the better off your brain will be, because that movement is good for your brain, it's good for your sleep, it's good for your stomach. And if you can couple that with the good healthy eating, which is also good for the neurons in your brain and the neurons in your stomach, all of these things, these 3 pillars of health, can help you to really control how you live as an older person. Do not give up on life because your parent suffered from early onset Alzheimer's or any form of dementia. Please do not give up. There is lots of hope there for you. It's less genetic and more about the traits that we often pick up from the parents, which is usually lacking sleep, poor diets, and not much movement. So let's rise above that and live the best version of ourselves that we can be, and make sure that our aging brain is not aging too quick. Let's slow that thing right down and keep it going until we're into our 90s. Anyway, good luck with that. More tips on that will come later on this year when this book is published, Beyond Midnight, The Wonder of Sleep. I'll give you a lot more in there. Thanks very much for listening, and I'll see you all again soon.